apologies. Debbie Moore is coming in by Zoom, so she's counted as present. Thank you. Declarations of interest. Is there anyone who's got an interest or conflict of interest in any of the items here today? No, thank you. Sorry? Oh, we'll just have to miss that, I think. But we might do it a bit later. Confirmation of previous minutes. I'll move that. Seconded Andre. All those in favour say aye. Against? Against
amendment.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry.
Yep. On the minutes, there was a mistake with Main North Road being mentioned with Lost Ferguson's presentation. It should be Main South.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
All correct. The Main South reference to Main North Road in the public forum presentation for Greater Hornby Residents Association to Main South Road.
Thank you, Mark. Great. Thank you. We now move to the public forum. We've had 6 requests to speak. We allocate 30 minutes only, so everybody only has 5 minutes, other than, in fact, questions. We have a lot of items on the agenda tonight. I've got a sort of slightly faster way of handling some of them, but we'd ask the people coming to the public forum to keep it to 5 minutes, and that does involve questions as well.
We need to move on a second into the confirmation.
I thought I had removed that, no?
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'll slow down a bit. Thank you. And Andre, seconded.
You can probably know the code here before.
Yes. Now, if would you like to actually do it now or later, Tyler?
Let's do it now.
Sorry, I forgot. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, the public forum, the first person we've got is Youth Development Fund report back, Natasha and Thomas McGibbon.
They have emailed through. They are running late. They will appear, no doubt.
Thank you.
Traffic, I think.
Meta Bardka is also late. Is that right? With traffic, the second person. The Halswell Community Project. Are people here from that? Thank you. If you'd like to come to the table. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're in your hands.
Yes, you just want me to play that in the background?
Okay. Thank you, parents. So a few weeks ago, I was here as part of a group who presented the shared vision that we're developing for Halswell. Today, Carrie and I are here to introduce you to the Halswell Community Project, who we are, our vision for our community, and what we're doing to achieve that. The Halswell Community Project began as a small group of volunteers interested in promoting Halswell and the club's groups, activities and businesses to local residents and those in the surrounding areas. After 2 years of operating informally, Halswell Community Project was incorporated in 2013 and we became a registered charity in 2022. Over the last 10 years, the organisation has grown and now operates out of the Halswell Community Hub as a key leader in the provision of community services and programmes in Halswell, focused on connecting, empowering and strengthening the local community. As an organisation, we're made up of a dedicated volunteer committee, a small team of contractors and a number of volunteers who are involved in different aspects of what we do, such as Facebook, the Hub, delivering newsletters and helping us to run activities, events and programmes. Our vision is to create a connected, resilient community which fosters engagement, inclusion, participation, a sense of belonging and pride, and brings about better outcomes through those improved connections and information sharing. Our projects cover a wide range of activities and services, including running the hub as a welcoming community facility that's open to all, a monthly community newsletter, welcome bags, community website, a large number of Facebook pages, all of which key connecting agents within the local community. We also run events such as Celebrate Halswell, Children's Day, Kids Markets, school holiday activities, and now that we're post-COVID, the plan is for Matariki and youth events as well. We run monthly network meetings and workshops for community covering a range of issues and topics of interest, and weekly activities like coffee morning, mahjong, coffee and games that bring people together. And more recently, thanks to the community board, our youth pilot project aimed at connecting with the young people in our community to identify their needs and start building networks and relationships for future youth work. I'd be here all night if I mentioned everything we do, but through all of our projects, we aim to build resilience through community connections, encourage participation through the sharing of community information, provide social connection for those isolated and vulnerable, encourage people to connect and work together for positive change, foster that sense of community and celebrate those different traditions and cultures, and to ensure newcomers to our community are connected with what they need to integrate well. Over the last few years, we've seen the real difference that meaningful connections can make in a person's life, whether that be in person or online through our Facebook pages. Over 500 people a week come through the community hub for a variety of reasons: to attend a group or activity, seek information, borrow a book from the book shack, or reach out for support. Over 18,000 people actively engage with our biggest Facebook page, and visitors to our recently redeveloped website are also growing. In addition to the electronic version of our newsletter, we now print 1,500 copies
Just how long?
of the newsletter each month, which are distributed.
Can
to
I just
local-
interrupt you? You've actually got a minute.
Yeah, that's all
Okay.
good. All good. So in addition to the electronic version of our newsletter, we now print 1,500 copies of the newsletter, which are distributed through local organisations, businesses, as well as household deliveries. We saw over 700 people attend our recent Celebrate Halswell event, and we saw a huge turnout at the Lions Carols the following day. Our 50+ volunteers give over 3,000 hours of their time each year, and we've seen how generous our community is when we put the call out to help those in need. We have seen members of our coffee morning reach out to each other in support, picking up older folk who can no longer drive. And we've seen how a listening ear and a kind word can make a huge impact. And this is what we aim to provide. Our challenge going forwards is how we reach those in our community who are unable to connect with us at the hub, those who are most at risk of social isolation in our rapidly growing community. So we're looking at new ways to get out to the suburbs, developing within our suburb, to connect with those who struggle to connect. Supporting the growth of meaningful local neighbourhoods within the wider Halswell community is key to this vision, and something we can't do alone. As well as all our key projects and events that bring people together, we're working towards youth workers in the local schools, community activators meeting people out in the community, identifying those at risk of social isolation and connecting them with people, activities and services that can support them.
It's just about time. Can you just?
Theodore Roosevelt said, "People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care." Together with our partners, our aim is to build a community that cares, where people feel safe, welcome and connected. And we'd like to invite you, the new community board, to continue to work with us as we work towards this goal.
Okay, thank you.
Very much.
Thank you very much indeed. And we just haven't got time for questions. Thank you.
Been here all night. So.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you very much indeed for coming in. Now, the Milnes Road subdivision, I've got Clive Hamilton, local resident. Thank you. Welcome, Clive.
Thank you.
And you want to talk to us about issues in the area of Milnes Park subdivision.
Correct.
Thank you.
We'll bring up,
And again, it's 5 minutes, including questions. Thank you.
Waiting for the PowerPoint to
you know
come
which
up.
one it's at.
Keep going down. Keep going down. Keep going. There it is. That's the fella.
Hang on, I'll just try and bring up the timer so everybody knows who they are. And we'll just- Oh, right,
Can you put it on slide first, please?
no, I don't think I can.
Yeah,
We'll put it on a different.
Yeah,
because of the timer.
Just if you start, Clive, we'll make it big. I've got a timer going here. Go.
Okay.
Press F5.
Now put it on.
Oh, hang on, wait a minute.
You put That's it. Keep them down. Just press down on your button.
Down.
Keep going down.
I think Clive, you
Okay,
start.
so
Yeah.
I'm a resident of Whitburn Ave,
Oh, okay.
and I'm talking about this location, it shows on the map. It's the Whitburn Park, which is very well used. Every time I go past it every day, there's always children in that park. That's a photograph of it from Milnes Road. As you can see, it's very close to William Britton Ave. If you can go to the next slide, please. There's an issue here which I would like the roading team in the City Council to have a look at and assess. With respects to the red car that's on the left is right next to the last yellow line on that side of the road. As you can see, there is a row of parked cars next to the playground, and it's a very narrow road, in my opinion. You need to drive at least less than 30 kilometres an hour to actually keep within the actual lane. So if you press the next picture, an example of very lousy driving, I would say, but even so, you can get where that red vehicle is on the left, you can get very big vans parked there, and it's most people have to wait if somebody's coming through. I would, if you can go to the next slide. Again, there's a courier van coming through, not a lot of room. So I'd like the fact that there's a lot of children in that area. There's very much a risk that, given how narrow that road is, that somebody could end up knocking over a child if they ran out between vehicles. So it'd be good to see, in my opinion, yellow lines on the left-hand side of that, opposite the park. Next issue I've got is just around the corner. So next slide. William Britton Ave now is a crossroads. It doesn't show on the map. It continues into Kearns Drive, into the new subdivision that's just been completed. You can see that by the marks on the road, which is a curse right throughout the city, from boy races. That road intersection is a mess. And I expect that at some stage very soon it will be, the surface of that road will be reworked. And if it would be good to actually have that road intersection looked at a little bit more. If you go to the next slide, what I think would be useful to deter boy racers using that intersection, because it's so big in the centre, is that maybe we could consider having on the Milnes Roads sections of that intersection little median curbs for pedestrians to cross, etc., and might discourage unwanted boy racer donuts, etc., in that intersection. So those are the two areas that I would like perhaps the roading team and council could assess and let us know what's happening in that area to improve safety.
Okay, thank you.
Can I
So
please
we've got
see the
a
screen?
minute
Can I
for
please see the
questions.
screen? I have sent through a couple of messages,
Oh,
but I
Debbie.
couldn't see any of that. Can I please see the screen that we're looking at? I did send through a couple of messages.
They can be sent to you as well.
We'll
Yeah, I
send it
just
on,
can't-
Debbie.
Yes.
Yeah.
What question, Debbie, have you got? Any
No
questions?
question. I just wanted to see the gentleman's screen. I couldn't see it. So whoever's in charge of the Zoom camera, are we able to zoom in on it?
Mm.
Yeah, not at the moment, but we'll send them through, Debbie.
We'll send them
Oh,
through. Yes.
okay, lovely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So please note that we'll pick up those comments and hopefully get some response from staff.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Want to do a request to start?
Yes, please.
So that we'll request staff
Investigate those two issues.
yellow lines on Wildbank Ave, Woodburn Ave, and measures that can be put in place to deter antisocial road use at the
Yes.
intersection of.
Is that fine, Andre and Debbie?
Makes sense, yeah.
And the
I
Rocky.
just offered to go and meet them and have a look at something.
Thank you. Right.
You've got
Now we've got someone arrived who was one of our first
Natasha
speakers.
and Thomas.
Yes. I wonder if you could come.
If you,
Sorry for being late.
sorry, if you whip up to the,
Natasha, is that correct?
Yeah.
And Thomas?
Yeah.
And you went to the Asia Pacific Canoe Sprint Club 2022 in Japan.
Yeah.
And you're reporting back. Thank you. And you have 5 minutes including questions. Thank you.
yep, they're at the there after the readers come.
So, my name is Thomas.
My name is Natasha. We both represented NZ for Sprint. Thank you for your generous support for us to get to Japan.
So in Japan, we ended up with a whole bunch of really good results. So I won a couple of gold medals,
Well,
a few silvers and a bronze.
I won 3 silvers and bronze.
okay.
So over there in Japan, it was pretty cool. They ran the event absolutely amazingly and just included all their culture throughout the whole lot.
So we were able to experience the culture. Then prior to the event, we also attended the Worlds and the 23 Worlds, which was also amazing.
Amazing just next to get over the up.
Then-
So that was our first international comp.
Amazing one.
So, and then 2 weeks ago we had the race too, which is a big event for us leading into our nationals. So I ended up being third in open, which is something like the open squad now.
What's the medals?
Medals.
And
Thank you.
I also got
Those
3
medals.
golds and 3 silver.
wow.
Is there any questions?
Yes. And how much time have we got? Yes. Any question anyone's got? Yes. Darla.
Marie.
And I've been to Japan too. What was your favorite thing there?
How people were so nice
That's how the whole township got into it.
and they respected us.
It wasn't just kind of a thing that got chucked together by that organisation, it was the whole kind of town and everything got into it.
And what sort of opportunities did you see once you won those medals?
So for me, I'm trying to qualify for this next year's World Champs and hopefully win medals over there.
I still be attending Junior Worlds.
Cool.
My second.
Okay.
I'll try and get the single medals. Try and get the medal.
Hopefully I'll be looking forward. That's-
Congrats. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Mark.
That's good.
Yes, great.
That's really thrilled to see how well you've done and hope you go well going forward.
Thank you. Can I ask a question about youth? Is it under 18 or under 21?
I'm under 18, he's under 23.
Under 23. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, oh, Sarah.
I'm curious, how long have you done this?
Who's been doing it?
I've been 8 years.
I've been doing it around about 5 years.
Oh,
Fantastic.
no. Thank you for in fact coming back and you've done like exceedingly well. So, and thank you for coming back and talking about what's happened. Thank you. Very good. Thank you.
You might have
Which one?
Nida.
Oh, you're right.
You might.
Mida Bud. Hello, thank you. And welcome.
Apologies, I was late.
Now, you did, thank you. Now, you were involved in the Christchurch Girls High School Readers' Cup team in
Yes.
Auckland in 2022. And you might like to say what the Readers' Cup team is too. Thank you.
So Reader's Cup is, can we do the slides, please?
Yep.
I'm trying.
Yeah, already up. So keep just press the arrow. There we go.
There we go. So Reader's Cup is a competition where 4 or 5 year 9 students, we come together, we read 6 or 7 books over 3 months to like a level that's almost uncanny. And we get quizzed on questions such as what paper did the student not complete in like a dystopian science fiction book? Or what hat was the person wearing in a photograph in a caravan that burned down? So they're really oddly specific questions. And you get points for this, and I believe it's out of 60 or 70. And next slide, please.
Just press down, press down.
Arrow down. Arrow down.
You've clicked off the thing.
Click the engine. And then just press down.
Perfect. So this is at the Canterbury Readers' Cup. So this is to qualify in the internationals, where we placed first by that 1.5 points. So it does get a bit close. And that was, I believe, in May this year. So it was quite a while ago. So this is part of our fundraising efforts. So we ran a couple bake sales, and obviously this to help contribute to our actual trip up to Auckland. Next slide, please. This is on our way up to Auckland. We were all super pumped. It was our first AAA flying pet parent. This was at the event. So we were competing with 10 other regions, exception from all over New Zealand. I believe there were only 3 or 4 from the South Island compared to like 6 or 7 from the North. So it was good to get the representation. Next slide, please. So we ended up coming in 2nd place by 0.5 point to Caramel College in Auckland. Yeah, so it was a bit disappointing, but all in all, it was a super fun event. And just going up there and learning all these things, practically memorizing the books. One of my friends was practically spitting out the chapters. It was a bit concerning. And yeah, so that was pretty much in a nutshell.
Wow.
Oh, thank you. Now we've got time for any questions. Mark.
How long did it take you to read one of those books?
Well, they were your standard chapter books. Perhaps a week or 2.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you. Marie?
So how many in a team, and then do you get the questions and whoever just can answer from them?
Yeah, so it's like 4 people, 4 person team, but we had a swap, so we'd swap out, occasionally. And there were books that we were strong at, such as, I don't know, we had The Giver, good book, if anyone's heard of it. And people were good at books, people were bad at books, and it's just like a bit of a power play to see, are you on during that book or are you sucked off? Yeah, but 4 people in a team with a set.
Good. Thank you. In terms of time, Matthew, we're just about there.
Yep. That's
Yes.
good. Another minute if you've got questions. If
Another
not.
minute if there's questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyler?
Future endeavours. What's your thoughts on the Readers' Cup in New Zealand?
Oh, I think it was brilliant. It was like such an experience in total. Obviously reading the books, read some books and just learned reading comprehension, drilling it in your brain, and just the entire experience. I kind of learned from it, like fundraising, coordinating. That was a new experience. And flying up there with that parents, kind of finding support in the team to learn new things, and with the disappointments, 2nd place by 0.5 point. We all kind of got bummed out by that, but it was all in all, like, we were super pumped after that.
Good.
Well done.
Thank you very much for coming in. I wish you well. Thank you. Now, Halswell Residents Association. Thank you, David. Thank you. And again, 5 minutes, including questions.
Okay, thanks everyone. So kia ora, I'm David Hawke, as most of you know, and I'm Secretary of Halswell Residents Association. Normally we would have John Bennett here as well, but he's stuck on holiday and so just me today. So after the meeting that you guys had a wee while ago about the Halswell Bridgeton idea, we came up with some ideas of our own, and we are going to put some of these to you today. So as putting some of these priorities together, we've had 3 attributes that we think are really important. Firstly, that anything we put forward should be Halswell specific and should not be citywide. Secondly, it should have measurable outcomes. And thirdly, some idea of where the money might come from to pay for the priority that we've got. We've also borne in mind the theme that was brought out in that briefing of isolation right across the 3 wards, both physical and social. So we hope that the 3 priorities that we're going to give you in a moment fit into that as well. So these priorities, there's a bit of spatial distribution as well. So if we start at the sort of southeast corner, we're suggesting an all ages adventure park at Waipuna Reserve, which is in the Riverstone subdivision, between Glovers Road and State Highway 75. So we would see this as comprising a playground, skate park and a BMX track. It would provide facilities in an area that is pretty much just houses and isolated from the rest of Halswell. However, it would also be quite a nice link and complement the Halswell Quarry Park just across the road. And that could be paid for by development contributions. Second priority, swinging around to the west, Fence Dog Park at Cars Road. This is at the other end of Halswell from Waipuna Reserve, and it's already used informally by some dog owners. So it's not a huge amount of work to do with that, but again, could come from development contributions. And thirdly, safe routes to school. So we would see as being really important signalised crossings of Murphy's and Wincox roads for Knight Stream School, Dundas Road for Oakland School, and Sabies Road for Halswell School. And we would see the Transport Agency as a potential co-funding partner of those. It's really important to note how we've tried to weave ideas across all age groups in those priorities. It's worth pointing out that for young people, Halswell has long prioritised skate parks and playgrounds, and these have been really successful, however you want to measure it. This contrasts with perhaps Hornby, who are meeting their youth needs with an all-weather pool. Obviously, people who want to swim can go to Hornby. People from Hornby who want to skate can come to Halswell. And we think that this complementarity is also really important. So thanks for listening.
Thank you, David. So questions from anybody? We've got a minute or so. Wow, you're silent.
I just want to point out how impressive I am that we've had recent come to us with the wish list, but also offering up how it was paid for as well. You can ask much more. It's a brilliant presentation.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. So we understand that there are financial challenges at council, and as an association, it's a good idea to be aware of those.
And long-term plans.
Particularly when you bring new build the Halswell, $988 towards community facilities. That is being extension. Very important point.
Yeah, okay. Well, we would hope even for the annual thing.
Annual plan. Well, you'll have to talk with the councillors about that. but definitely long-term plan. Definitely.
Yeah, so this is as we would see it, for the board.
Yes.
It's not a 1-year list of priorities, it's a sort of evolving process.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much, David.
Okay.
Thank you,
David.
Thank you.
You look great, Alan.
Now, I'm planning to move on to item 6, which is the presentation of petitions.
You've got a couple more potentially.
We'll go back to 5. So we have no petitions. So we'll move from item 6 back to item 5, which is the deputations by appointment.
You've got a couple more public forums.
Have we?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So you've got. Yep. So you've got 4 minutes left for public forum, and I think you've got one from Lady Wigram. I think you've got Luke Chandler.
We've set Luke's put us through, and
Luke's put it through writing. So, Lady. Yep.
Thank
So
you.
Lady Wigram.
Lady Wigram. Thank you. Now, is that a
Oh, that's me. Sorry.
So Debbie's eggs are boiled.
It should be a photo to go with this.
Thank you. Okay, now you're from Lady Wigram.
I have Murray, who's chairman of the Lady Wigram Residents Committee, Linda Tucker, who is the deputy chair, and I'm the secretary.
Oh, thank you. Thanks,
And-
and welcome, Mary, particularly. Yes,
Thank
I started with Mary when Mary was on the board.
Now, Andre has been very good. He's been out and visited and looked at the problem that we're having in Kitty Hawk Avenue.
Yes.
We have two main entrances of Kitty Hawk. And the amount of traffic that uses Kitty Hawk per day, because it leads through from sort of the housing to the industrial area. But at the moment, both the entranceways are taken up with cars parking either side of the entranceway. In the village, we have many cars, ambulances, vehicles coming in per day. And it's extremely hard, I guess, we've got a motorhome park there.
Yes.
The main entrance is where the notice is on the side there. And people coming out of the village cannot see past those vehicles. And we are asking if you would support us with the installation of yellow lines either side of the two entranceways in Kitty Hawk. The one further down is also quite dangerous because there's a wee bit of a sort of a bend in the road and you cannot see vehicles coming. So you have to go right out into the roadway to be able to see the vehicles that are coming. In that picture there, that is a motorhome. Quite often there is a bus parked there. And it's getting extremely busy and dangerous. And the village is growing. And so we see the need for the yellow lines to be able to be safe for the people coming in and going out. And I did have a picture at Somerset, Avonhead, and they had the they'd taken out 3 car parks and put the yellow line so that people have got a vision, be able to see going out of the village. And that's what we're asking for support us.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mary. And any comments from?
As you can see, there's quite wide berms and footpath. And
Yes.
on either side of the road, that's actually wider. The two of them joined together are wider than what the road is. And when you come out and try and get past the cars, you actually have to pull out onto the other side of the road. Which if somebody's whizzing the other way, it's very dangerous.
Thank you.
I've only been there for over 18 months now, and I've had a couple of close shaves. You come out and you've got to keep coming out. And to me, it seems like a no-brainer to actually put yellow lines right along that whole side. But even if yellow lines were put just by the entrances there, it would be a massive
help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sooner or later, it's going to happen.
I caught your name as Robin Odoms, did I?
No.
I've got that wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Robin's over here.
He's Robin Odoms is the ex-traffic engineer from Land Transport.
Yeah, Murray.
Thank you. Right, question, Sarah. And then Hank and then Mark.
Two entrances, yeah, yes, there is both that you're, and it's the two of them that you're wanting yellow lines for. Yes, okay.
There are 2 other entrances too, but this is the one that Kitty Hawk one that we're particularly concerned about.
Thank you. Hank?
So ideally, if you had everything your way, how many car parks off that picture would you like to remove? So I can see a whole number of cars there. And you're quite right in what you say, it'd be tricky. But how many car parks would you see removed to make it easier?
I would say at least 4 either side of the entrance.
That's a lot of
the entrance. Yeah.
So who parks here? Is it a resident?
No, it's visitors to the care side, to the village, care side of the village, and some staff. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So is there no parking inside?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Then why are they out on the road? Sorry?
It's a very nice place to visit.
Yes. There just isn't probably enough inside parks, but there isn't anywhere else to put them. So I don't think. Yeah, I think it's visitors, a lot of visitors who come to see people too. So but taking up the parks.
Somewhat right by the entrance.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mark's got a question.
No, mine was very much the same as to where those vehicles are coming from. Are they internal or are they? People
Well,
going
three,
for-
I would say.
Yes, yep.
Village. Two would be staff and
At the
three,
end.
the likes of that motorhome.
Mm.
And when there's often a bus there as well, they live in that street, Potent, it's a narrow street and they can't park vehicles there, so consequently they come out onto Kitty Court.
Or subdivisions are. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, what we'll do is we'll ask the staff to investigate.
I've got, request staff to investigate parking issues on Kitty Hawk Avenue, is it? And, to improve visibility for, vehicles exiting Lady Wigram Parliament Village.
Is that fine with you?
Yes.
Good. Good. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed for coming along. Thank you. So now we're moving on to the deputations.
So we're
Um,
on the public forum.
who's there?
Jan Abel.
Uh, have
So it would have to be by the will of the board. So you've done your 30 minutes.
Well, can I move that we extend public forum by 5 minutes to have one more public forum?
Second.
can I just check, has the person just arrived and asked, or has the person asked before?
There's been issue that was circulated around the board a few days ago.
Okay.
Times as well.
Okay, I haven't been on the computer, so okay, that's fine. Well, thank you. If the person would like to come to the board, to the table, and you've got
You've
got
thank you for your
5 minutes.
I'm Dan, this is Penelope.
Okay. Thank you.
We teach adults to swim. We're really focused on health and wellness, water safety, and using assets we've got around. Our issue we're discussing today really is the council have got a number of beautiful facilities. Yours, Portable Pool, a multi-million-dollar facility. It's open for about a third of the year at off-peak times. Rather than spending money on other swimming pools, let's get using this one. We've been fortuitous because Walton Pool was available for 4 weeks, so we came into Horsell and hadn't been there for years. It's amazing. Thank you to Andre and Sarah for coming down. I think Debbie was listening. Hi, Debbie. Mark drops a note. So Sammy over there. She knows what she does, what we do over there. Do you want us to do more swimming down there? It's a community centre. Water is so important to health and wellness. New Zealanders are so connected to it. Let's use it more. It's what we do, and we're here to help if you want to. Andre's been so engaging, so thank you. If you've got any questions, ask away.
Thank you, Mark.
Great to see you using Horsell. Is there any thought of perhaps look like using Templeton as well as another base to run some of these swimming sessions with?
We haven't looked at Templeton at all. I've been trying to get into Waltham for about 8 years.
Yep.
And then because we had a hiccup there, I've had 4 weeks to do it Horsell. But I'd like to use all the space.
Yep.
It's there and there is a demand for it. My issue is when I go to council staff, they say go to community board. To go to community board, you check with council staff and they say no, don't do it. You know, that's been the little circle we've been around. So it's great that people come out here and look at it. And the more that we offer it, funnily enough, the more that we find people want to come and use it. And it's simple. We offer free coffee when you come down, so people have a swim, feel relaxed, and turn to each other and say, how are you doing? And they usually say, awful. Oh, me too. So let's feel a little bit better after this and get on with their lives. So yeah, it's good.
What's the I guess the hot point of it? 4 hours.
Yeah. And duration. But yeah, you know, generally open 11:30. You can't get there beforehand. If you go at lunchtime, generally it's peak time, especially in summer. Families are in there, and then closing around 7 in the evening, and only open for about 4 months of the year. So at peak time, especially adult time, is typically morning. Right, you can go along and you can do your swim. It's there. It sits there. The water's in it. You pay for the chemicals. The facility's there. Yeah.
Before being here for us to open the pool earlier, comes from community board funds, and you can also had to pay so many lifeguards. It costs a fair bit. But these guys can show up and essentially do the same thing.
It's a bigger discussion but get in the time frame that you've got. So
Yes,
it's out there. We're able to contact us with more
I think so,
information, but just with tabling it.
We actually did spend money on opening early, I think at 10 o'clock.
$80,000 over 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that was 4 people.
And the actual public, I was surprised. I thought it would work, but the public didn't seem to actually use it.
Did you market it? Did you put some engagement tools, put any experts down there to help people? Did you welcome?
I
Or did you just open,
Yeah,
say, here
we
it is, here's some money, will you come?
Mm.
You're not,
You basically the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you want to talk about how you were able to activate numbers there the last 4 weeks?
it's just the key things for talking about it. We've already got a followership because that's what we do.
Mm.
We put people on poolside who are engaging. If you came down, probably, I think you were there, welcome. Come on in. We're really pleased for you to be there. I'm a bit nervous about swing. I'm not sure. Have you been here before? So people that are passionate about it, involved in the industry, quite often because so many pools, it's just a job for people, especially at pools. It's cold, it's wet. I've been in regularly and people ask us at pools around the city, how's it going today? Because it's cold and it's quiet and there's no one here. We try and flip that on its head. We treat it differently by community centre and just talk about a marketing budget. A billboard up, we're open in the morning. No one did that in those 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, tell people about it
Okay.
and make it exciting. I'll just come down, I'll be there.
You'll be there.
Yeah. And there's no 5 minutes limit, you can swim for an hour.
You can come and wave them in.
Yeah, and it's not, from a budgetary perspective, the facilities there it's paid for.
Yeah.
It's not particularly good, but it's not, for us, it's a passion, you'll probably tell, not really a business, and that becomes a problem. So if you know an organisation that's not profit focused, that's involved in community.
Okay, thank you. Mark,
Cool.
Mark.
Yeah, just following up on Templeton, I see the pool out there is open from 7 AM. to
Right.
8 PM.
Yep.
Might flick you through a link.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
work with our staff about some activation fund.
There's a number of assets around the city that are ready to go, available, not used. And that's what we do, just lobby and say, hey, it's there. And we try and show a really simple recipe to get people involved. Our numbers, I sent through the numbers already. I think we're averaging 25 a morning over 4 weeks, and we have no marketing budget.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's just word of mouth from that grows, it snowballs. And you guys are going to be working late. I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions? Just get in touch.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Now, we're going over to the deputations by appointment. We've got 2 on Platinum Drive, which is one of the issues we'll spend time on. So I've got Tracy McLean and then Robin Odom. So we'll put Tracy first. I think you've got different views. Am I right?
Tracy's on Zoom.
Yep, so
On Zoom. Okay.
says Tracy should be able to hear us.
I can.
Okay, good. Thank you. So if you'd like to start, Tracy, you've got 5 minutes, including questions.
Well, I guess this has been ongoing for a long time. We don't believe that yellow lines on Platinum Drive is the answer, that there's other things that can be done to help the residents. And one of those things is to make it an in-only entrance instead of in and out. Secondly, if they do have a problem, then why don't they look at making a cutout parking so that you don't actually get rid of any car parks, and then the cars are actually parked where, as a current boom, for example, would then be car parking. So because obviously car parking around this area is at a premium. So if you get rid of any car parks, then you're only pushing the problem further down the street. That's the residents on Platinum's opinion. I'm just the spokesperson on behalf of them. So that's our point of view.
Thank you. Now, how many people would you be speaking on behalf of? Do you think? I'm an
8.
8.
Oh, 8 or more, but 8 in the real close vicinity of the entrance that we're talking about.
Good, thank you. Thank you very much, Tracy. A question from Tyler.
Hi, Tracy. It's Tyler here.
Hi.
I'm just wanting to quickly ask about your comment on the berm. Can you clarify around that?
Well, I don't know if you've got a picture of the actual area that you're talking about, but across so we're on the actual resident side, but a lot of that berm doesn't get looked after or maintained anyway by the residents because they're rentals. So if you cut that out and made it into car parking, then it puts the cars off the actual view. How do I put it? It takes the cars off the street and into what was the berm. So then it's not blocking the residents' view when they're coming out of the drive, if they have to come out of the drive. So they're not driving into the road to look, because the cars that would be parked into the berm angle.
Okay.
Okay. Are you fine with that, Tyler? or-
I built that whole berm along the side of the road. Weirdly enough. I was actually in a digger doing it all. So I know it really well. Too well. I'm just
So now
thinking the feasibility of parking on that.
Now that you put the picture up, the bit that I'm talking about is actually on the right-hand side. If you're looking at the picture, it's on the right-hand side on Platinum, where you've got your finger now. If you cut that out and put that into car parking, it would be off the road.
It wouldn't open the view out though, would it?
The trick of it, Tracy, is we had to find 10,000 suppliers to do it. That council probably won't give us.
Okay.
So then I'll go back to my original and go and say that entrance that Somerset have got, it was meant to be a service entrance only, and it was never intended as a residence entry and exit. So why does it have to be an in and out? They've got a main entrance off Platinum where they've got plenty of visibility. Sorry, not Platinum, off Aotearoa.
That's a question when we get the staff up here. We'll ask them actually. Is Andre.
Tracy, if hypothetically it was an in only, because on there, well, we're just talking one car park here, there's that those yellow lines would go over. But for someone coming from Wigram Road, for example, even if it wasn't in only, would that space there with yellow lines not still be useful, even if it was just in only?
One was too small anyway.
Yes, but I guess, Andre, I just don't think that that's what the residents' argument is.
Oh, yeah, I understand that. But let's say hypothetically it became an in only. The way I'm looking at it is those yellow lines there would still be useful, and it's only taking away one car park, and it means at least they'd be able to get in, in easier if you're coming from Wigram Road side. I guess I'm just trying to see the downside of the yellow lines in one park there.
Well, it's one park, and one park in a premium area, one park's one park. You're pushing the problem further down the street. So then I question whether or not there's even enough car parking as there is.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a question from Debbie, who's on Zoom too, Tracy. So I don't know how Zoom to Zoom works.
It'll work.
We'll try it.
It'll work. Unmute yourself, Debbie. Unmute.
Hello, Tracy.
Debbie.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Debbie, I can.
Can Tracy hear
Right.
you?
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Are you aware? I'm just wondering whether or not ticks might be an option that you might think is better. Do you know what a tick is?
Yes, and we have already agreed that ticks would have been a secondary option, which would be more beneficial for us than yellow lines.
Okay, because I'm looking at those yellow lines at the corner on both those corners, and people shouldn't be parking there anyway under normal rules. So yeah, ticks is also a preventative on those corners as well. So we'll hear what the staff have got to say on later anyway. But thank you. Yeah, that's just something else for us to consider. But thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Okay. Any other questions of Tracy? Thank you. Mark.
Tracy, whether you can see on that plan the lower yellow line being proposed next to the entranceway, do people still park there with that pedestrian crossing there?
Well, yes, unfortunately they do.
Unbelievable.
So Tracy, if it's not ideal that someone's parking there, wouldn't we want yellow lines there?
We believe that yellow lines changes the tone of the whole street. So if we have to do anything, then ticks is the preferred option.
Yep.
Okay.
But ticks wouldn't be able to place a car park there anyway, though, because it's going over that walkway. So So even with ticks, you would still end up with a car parking over that walkway, assuming the ticks were elsewhere. You wouldn't have a tick over the walkway. So,
Yeah.
I'm just.
I can concede that yes, and that one that you are correct.
Yeah, because when you say it's, unfortunately cars are parking there, it sounds like it is an issue when they shouldn't be parking there anyway. So it just sort of seems like we're putting yellow lines where cars shouldn't be parking anyway. And I understand it's one car park that would be lost, but if it's not somewhere we want cars parking anyway, are we not just best to put them there?
It's a question, Tracy. Have you got it?
Yes. Sorry, somebody's writing me a note. The question, I think the issue, the issue as we see it as residents is that it's a staff member that parks there, and it's the staff member that could be told to be more considerate of the staff members could be talked to and discussed and told it could be more considerate parking, and then it would resolve the issue without having to put yellow lines down.
Yeah, I guess just the danger is if visitors stop by who weren't already staff, or for example, when they've got the Christmas market there each year, which would have brought a lot of traffic as well. I guess it wouldn't just be staff that might park there. And we're talking about one car park here that is problematic. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure, would it not just make sense to safeguard it for all visitors as well as staff, and then I guess at the same time we negotiate and get some sort of agreement with the retirement village, or what they can communicate with staff going forward. So we need to find a win-win for both residents and the residents on the street as well.
I would agree with that particular corner, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I actually said, Tracy, there's 5 minutes. In fact, we're 10 for deputation. Are we at?
You're at 10.
We're currently at 10. So, Tracy, you might want to stay on Zoom because we're going to have Robin Odins up, and then we'll have the staff, and then we'll have a discussion. So, if you want to stay on Zoom, please do.
Thank you.
Robin. Thank you. And good, hard copy. It's man of my generation. Hard copy. Robin just was with Land Transport. It's now got a different name, but he was there for a long time, weren't you, Robin? You used to come to us as an official of Land Transport.
Time moves on. We'll get a little bit drier and older. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
The issue of no stopping roads initially in July 2019, when a resident of the village wrote to the council expressing his concerns on the safety risks of vehicles turning right from the Somerset entrance on Hackman Drive. There has been a number of near misses and scared, and because of the restricted visibility, these continue to occur. A more extensive proposal based on the National Standard for Guidelines for Visibility of Driveways and Christchurch Suburban Parking Policy was put out for consultation. This included improved visibility for Somerset vehicles exiting from the Somerset driveway. It was strongly supported by the Wigram Residents Association, representing some 300 village occupants. The proposal was not supported by some local residents on Platinum Drive. The community board let the matter lay on the table after the on-site meeting with all parties did not resolve the concerns of local residents. Issues included, had Somerset complied with its resource consent for on-site parking? Somerset could restrict the use of the driveway, e.g. one-way in. And C, restricting parking on street by Somerset staff. The staff, that's City Council staff, have confirmed that Somerset has complied with its resource consent. And I would say that Lady Wigram and the other Somerset heads likewise have complied with the requirements of the resources. The problem may be that the requirements set out by council for a resource team are insufficient to get this great number of cars parked on street. Many Somerset drivers feel safer using this section rather than the highly trafficked Awatea entrance. We didn't quite get what we wanted with the Awatea entrance. At the last minute, there was a design change. The designer had made a mistake and there wasn't quite the width there to provide for the intermediate, which would allow sections for people turning into the Somerset Village off Awatea Road. We missed out on that. And so people are still scared of the Awatea entrance and use it. And it is safer. Subject to obeying the traffic regulations on vehicle clearances at driveways and intersections and any other restrictions, all road users have the right to park on the road. So you can't just say we're not going to have staff, they have the right as anyone else does. It has taken some time for council staff to prepare a revised proposal. The review has allowed consideration of other users and their needs. Also, it takes into account changing policies on management of street space and accessibility for pedestrians. In this instance, it requires keeping the pedestrian crossing places clear of parking on the southeastern side of Packing Drive and at the Cold Place section. Commenting on the council's amended proposal, the no stopping on the southeastern side of the Somerset driveway fully meets our concern. Somerset walkers, it provides safety and access for pedestrians and scooters and promotes a healthy activity. If you take the younger set, there could be prams as well. Also, Somerset vehicles turning right from the road, from the driveway have improved visibility. The no stopping lines on Cold Place reinforce the traffic regulations and do allow better visibility for pedestrians and motorists. You have to remember that we've got some 300 people there that are probably average age is 82. It's a busy generator of traffic. There's a lot of drivers. There's a lot of visitors, a lot of delivery vehicles. So safety is paramount when you look at these facilities. Section 5.5 of the staff report recognised that there may be a need to review additional parking restrictions as time goes by, but this should await future feedback from road users. The proposed no stopping is established in the legal requirement for clearance to crossing places. The effect on Platinum Drive residents is in fact minimal, as there is no loss of legal on-street parking space. You were concerned that it might, at one place that's in between the crossing and our driveway, that in fact, according to the staff, is legally not allowed to have parking. A small car can fit in, but in fact, it really blocks the movement. So from our point of view, visibility is paramount, and the same thing as being brought up today, Lady Wigram. You need to have that clearance. These are high generating. So I would finish by saying I hope you'll get favorable consideration. I hope this is the last time I have to come here. But I've had about 5 visits in the last 4 years.
Thank you, Robin. What a question from Andre.
Thank you very much. I guess one of the concerns for residents, has been, obviously the breach of consent is an issue in itself, and that comes down to what consent council actually. So then, yeah, what's been done, I guess, and, sure if we learn from it. But it's from my experience, part of the concern has been, obviously there's a lot of cars, many from the start. In some cases, being parked very close to people's driveways, not just outside here, but further down the road. I just sort of wonder if maybe going forward, is there something you'd be happy and prepared to do in terms of communications with staff about, parking, supposed to park a metre away from driveways, that kind of thing? Like, is there anything you can suggest going forward to try and, I guess, reassure the residents and
staff have been told about 1.5 meters and the 1 meters and all that sort of thing. It doesn't really help over much. Just missed the point that I can make. Sorry, but it is. It's not really what the yellow lines are doing. Are reinforcing what is legal. Really, but unless you've got the yellow line there, people don't. Yeah. So the yellow line is needed. Yeah. The 1 meter is a small amount, and people tend to obey that, except for that one car that's in the photo of the. But I think we've done about all we can. If anyone has the right to park on their phone, you can't say no. You can't park. If you look all around town, you look at any major development. Look at Diana Isaac, the way that the cars are all parked on the road. Look at the university, any major business. The expectation is that the developer or the user of that land does not need to provide all the parking. The intent is that they will park on the road.
I guess what I'm asking is there anything, or are you willing to continue sort of helping that communication with the staff? Just keeping in mind anything we can do, in mind the residents going forward will be useful.
There is what actually does occur is that those that are on the night shift ship their cars inside, and that does help. But unfortunately doesn't fix the whole problem with the business that I can see.
And this issue is something that you'd be happy and prepared to, communicate on the odd occasion to staff going forward, particularly when you have turnover.
The village manager does raise that issue with staff all the time. But you've got to remember that there are a lot of visitors that come in with it.
Yeah,
none from there and so forth. And there are a lot of delivery.
Okay, we've cut to about 10 minutes. I think we'll probably conclude there. Is there anything else you want to add, Robin?
Not really. I just hope that you'll give due consideration to this. It's unfortunate that those people have these cars outside, but people have that right to park.
Okay, thank you.
And what we need to do is make sure that when they do park, they park safely.
So you're in favour of the staff recommendation? You're in favour of the staff recommendation?
Very much in favour of this.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. Now, well,
Helen, is there time for a question for Mr. Odoms?
not really.
Okay.
Perhaps if we get the staff up. You're staying, Mr. Odoms, are you? Yes. If there's a chance there, we'll ask Mr. Odoms. Thank you. So staff, thank you. Thank you and welcome. Thank you. So I'll give you a few minutes only. So we're going to have to make quite a difficult judgment here. So if you'd like to convey what staff believe. Thank you.
Yes, as we mentioned in the report, we have so as we discussed earlier multiple times, so there was a proposal in 2019 and it was laid on the table for us to review the need and the extent of the yellow lines which were proposed earlier. And I understand by looking at the old plans, the length of the proposed yellow lines at that time were a bit much longer than this one. So now when it is being brought up by the residents, we looked into it. So we definitely consider the feedback of the residents of Platinum Drive and the village, and also our current operating policy with yellow lines near private access ways. And looking at that, we do have the pedestrian crossings on and very close to the village entrance. So with the retirement village nearby, we do expect many users who will find it who need this pedestrian crossing to be clear of any parked vehicles, because we expect an increased number of users with various mobility needs. So we felt the need to keep these crossing points clear. So that's the reason we have these. We have proposed these yellow lines, which in turn it's helping visibility as well for residents using the. Actually, the primary reason is we wanted to keep the crossing points clear, and as our residents indicated, the impact on legal on-street parking is very, very, very minimal. Like, if there is a vehicle parked across any part of the yellow lines which have been suggested, they would most likely be breaking the rule in some way, like within 1 meter of an access way, across the pedestrian crossing point, or within 6 meters of an intersection. All these are not allowed. So they might be breaking it in some way if they are parking across the yellow line. So we are, with the number of users for these pedestrian crossing points, especially with various needs, we felt the need to keep these crossing points clear. And yes, that's what we have proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Now some questions very quickly. Mark?
Would you be able to, instead of doing the yellow lines on the curves, put in parking ticks at each end to delineate where people can legally park?
Parking ticks are a solution which we do, but we need to note that they are guidance, advisory or guidance markings. And as I said, like if we put we don't want people to be parking too close to the intersection as well. So that is the reason we came up with this design. So yes, as we said, like parking ticks, so we can do, like, it's something which we consider, say, for example, near the university where the parking demand is very high in many streets, and there are repeated offenses, recorded offenses of people parking within the 1 meter, that's an example. So we consider ticks in such locations. So this one, we can do ticks, but we need to consider the effects as well, like what is it going to do? So as I said, it's an advisory thing, and we don't want people parking very close to the intersection as well. So
So you could try a ticks.
Yes, but where do we, like, if we do it here, as we discussed earlier, we still can't pick a car near the I can show you, like near the access way, like we put the ticks 1 meter away from the driveway and away from the.
Oh yeah, look, I'm fully supportive of the southern side of Platinum having those yellow lines by the pedestrian ramp. That makes sense.
Yeah,
but it's the ones around the corner.
Yeah,
if we can do parking ticks.
Where, may I ask, where exactly?
Well, at the end of the yellow line.
At the end of the proposed yellow line?
Yes.
Well, we can, but it's with all due respect, like we're just asking what is the need, because yellow lines are ending there and people can park past the yellow lines.
Yeah, I realize that, but I'm just trying to get away with less yellow paint in the subdivided area.
Oh, you mean no yellow lines?
No yellow lines, just the ticks.
We generally don't do it near the intersections. That's not standard.
I've seen it done.
But
it's just there's obviously concern in the neighbourhood for having lots of yellow paint around the corners.
So you're saying there's sort of a stigma?
Yeah, and it's less obtrusive to have the white parking ticks put at each end of those yellow lines instead of the yellow lines.
Yeah, saying that again, like parking ticks are not like saved. From what I understand about conversing with the parking enforcement team, they are advisory markings. The ticks are advisory. So if there's someone parked, unless it is anyway inconsiderate in many ways, then we.
Is it not true then that with those parking ticks there,
yeah,
it's actually illegal to park any closer than those ticks to the intersection anyway? So the enforcement can still enforce.
Yes, but yes, if it's within the 6 meters, of an intersection which is not allowed, the people can. Enforcement can fine them or whatever, without the yellow lines. But this is just, we felt that it's a bit more enforcing here. We just do it here, we just did it all together for all the properties.
Thank you. I've got a query from Marie, Tyler, then Andre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Between the yellow lines and the parking ticks?
Yeah.
What would be the cost difference?
Will actually can't tell it right now, but
Just
well, I mean,
rough
rough figure,
figure.
the ticks would cost less. That's something which I can say. The ticks would cost lesser, but as I said, it is not about the cost here. Like it is how much it is enforceable. Like with yellow lines, it's low, but ticks are advisable. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We need to check the parking demand and also the number of the complaints or the number of tickets which have been issued for illegal parking for ticks. So that's a starting point. We need ticks and stuff.
Thank you. Now, can I say I've got Tyler down and then Andre and then Debbie.
Can you remind me? Everyone here's traffic engineers at the moment. I'm way out of my league here. What is a traffic tick? What's parking tick?
It is
white line.
Okay.
Yeah, the white lines.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Andre.
I built the boom, but I didn't design it.
Yeah, no, I think I had to learn. Andre.
So tick would require you to go and investigate ultimately other options, and then would you then have to come back to community board?
No, ticks like they don't need a community board. Even as I said, they are like not. They are just advisory lines, so we can do it like that.
But ultimately you could put ticks in and people might still continue to park illegally. So to do ticks instead of the other lines, would achieve very little.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. Now I've got a Zoom question from Debbie.
Yeah.
Debbie?
Okay, I've taken my own. Yes, I'm here. Thank you for that. And thank you, Mark, for your query regarding ticks on Colt Place, isn't it? Yes. And I hear what Mr. Odoms was saying about, the yellow lines is just reinforcing what the legal requirement is anyway, to park from a distance of a corner. And I do understand that ticks do the same, or reinforces the same situation, especially at a corner. Especially at a corner like that. So my question is, Mark, are you looking at maybe making an amendment to look at ticks for the Colt Place and yellow lines at the driveway portion that's covering the pedestrian?
You're right. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Moving on to Sarah.
I'm just thinking, if I was a resident and I a yellow lines would make it really clear to me not to park there and not potentially get tickled. If there were ticks, I would personally, with my knowledge of traffic lines, be a bit confused about what I'm allowed to do and not allowed to do. And so if I park too close to the intersection, I'd be tickled. I personally think that having yellow lines makes it definitively clear where I'm allowed to park and where I'm allowed to, and reduces effectively the even more frustrating thing the ticket from parking illegally. Just
answer the question of the engineer. Because we're in question time.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Just kind of taking on board everything.
Thank you.
Do you agree?
Good. Do you agree? There's ways of now we're running out of time because we have to have a debate on this, Andre, but one last question.
Can I just clarify? So doing ticks instead of yellow lines would mean that there would be no indication whatsoever that you can't park outside number 38. Which is where the issue is. It's over a
the south side.
South. No. So if you're going only ticks instead of yellow lines, there would be no indicator whatsoever to say that you cannot park outside number 38 by the entranceway and over the footpath. There'd be no indication there that you can't park there.
Yeah, you mean that there is no yellow lines at all, and you just put ticks as yes, yeah. We can't put any ticks where we have put the yellow lines near 38 because
understood.
Yeah.
So only doing ticks would leave a gap.
38 unprotected. Or
Yeah,
that's kind of
it would leave. It would suggest nothing.
Leave it open.
yeah.
Can I just clarify
Yeah.
that I do support those yellow lines by that ramp.
Yeah,
It's the ones around the curve that. I think
that's
is-
right.
Okay,
That's right.
so when you mean the, okay, no, I'll leave that. So any, oh, Hank, one last question.
This guy here, well, by the yellow line on the opposite side of the road, the men's section. Wouldn't a policeman come along doing the ticket sorting out as well?
Sorry.
Do we have to have yellow line? Can't we just have a policeman come along like this? So there's $100 for parking there.
Actually,
I mean, he is wrong with that.
yeah, I mean, yes, I did check with our parking enforcement team. If, like, say, without the yellow lines, if they are parked there, is it enforceable? They aren't replying. They got what's if they are aware of it. Like someone goes by or they receive a complaint, they will, certainly enforce that. Yes.
Well, wouldn't that be much? Wouldn't that suit the residents also? Then there wouldn't be any yellow lines, and I'm sure the message will get through pretty quick.
Well, it hasn't. I mean,
Well, has that been fine?
Well, that's enforcement. It takes them a lot to do that. Yeah, assuming they're available, and then you've got to hope that people will be.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But I mean, it hasn't.
If it's only a 5-minute problem,
If that was working, we wouldn't be able to.
it's probably, well, something's not working. And I suspect it's because we're not getting enough enforcement there.
The same issue across.
That's a
We've literally got. I've been crypto car park yesterday.
But the residents don't want yellow lines over the road.
Okay, thank you. Look, I'll conclude things here because we do have to discuss how to handle this. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming in. Thank you. So now this is tricky.
No,
If we can't get to any clear conclusion, we can just lie on the table. We can get a small working party of Horswell board members and councillors on this. So I'm really in the board hands on this. So we, sorry. So I'll move, if someone, I'll move the staff recommendation to get it on the table. Have I got a seconder? Andre, thank you. So it's there on the table. Now, do you want to, does anyone want to move an amendment to it?
I would like to look at deleting B, C, D, and E. And requesting that staff put parking ticks at the limits of those proposed, those stopping restrictions.
So if you formulate that, Mark.
I've got that thing now.
It's down with Faye.
I'll second
So
that.
B, C,
Fully supportive of option A. It's the yellow lines on the south side of Peckham Drive.
I'll second that.
thank you. I've got a seconder. So if you could read that out, Faye. Well,
So as I understand the amendment, it is 1A remains the same. So that's approving the yellow lines along the southern side of Platinum Drive. And for B, C, D, and E, you're using the same distances, but instead of yellow lines, you're requesting that parking ticks be placed on the edges.
Yes. A parking tick.
Yeah, so a parking tick be put X number of meters away, whatever the distances are on there. And we'd have that for B, C, D, and E. And you've moved the amendment and Debbie has seconded it.
Are we able to speak to it at all?
yes, now,
Can I clarify? Are you wanting staff advice or you're actually wanting that to be implemented? I want that to be implemented.
yes. So basically,
basically,
if you vote for the amendment, you're making a change to B, C, D, and E. If you vote for the substantive motion, you're voting to keep the yellow lines as planned. So if you're against the actual amendment, you vote against it, and then we move the substantive motion. But if you're in favour of what's proposed, you actually vote for the amendment. Okay, so now it's debate now. Thank you. So Mark, if you want to start off with your views.
So I have had experience of these parking ticks in residential locations. And in the Witham Street area around Branston Park, we had very similar problems with people parking on corners in that case. And the staff were able to put in the parking ticks without any report to the board. So it was simply a case of going and putting the paper on the road. And in the location of Witham Street, it didn't work because it's extremely high pressure, the rugby league activity. So they ended up reinforcing it with the yellow line. So I admit that parking ticks don't always get messaged through, but I would say that in this situation, because it's far away from Phoenix, you're not going to have 300 people turning up on regular game. So your chances of having any problems here are extremely minimal. So that's why I'm quite keen for us to give the parking ticks a try with this one. And if we do find at a later date that there is ongoing problem people parking on the corners, which I'll be very surprised if we did in this case, then we can reinforce it with yellow lines after that. So I'm totally supportive of that southern side yellow line, because it's reinforcing a really simple, you shouldn't be parking anyway, for goodness sake. Whereas the parking ticks are an extremely unobtrusive way of putting a marker on the road suggesting this is where you should park. And I would say that 99.9% of voters are going to respect those white parkings. Very, very good point anybody else. So obviously on their mind.
Thank you, Mark. I've got the comment. It's debate now. So yes, I'll see if Debbie wants to add something. Debbie, you wanted to add something?
Yes, please. So is seconded to this. I think Mark, you might have been on site at on the on-site meeting. I can't recall if you were, Andre. You?
Yes,
at the time, and there was huge discussion with the manager of the retirement village, the residents, etc. And that's why we laid a lot of it on the table. Now, I support Mark's amendment because I think that leaving the yellow lines as discussed on the side closest to the retirement village, I think this is a welcome compromise, because it allows for the visibility issue getting in and out of the retirement village. It deals with that issue, and also the pedestrian access, and it allows for the visibility. It also, as Mr. Odom's mentioned, the residents from the retirement village, it's taking them off the main road and often, in and out onto a quieter road. And it is quite, as we've discussed, it can be quite a little dangerous corner used on a regular basis with a number of residents. So really do want to keep the access at ease there. And the ticks is once again reinforcing what the legal requirement is anyway. And I have seen them in places where they've worked really well as well. So that for that reason, and not only that, just we all know what the issues are around Wigram and Aidenfield, etc. The high intensification and parking. There's thousands of intersections like this, and I just don't want to see precedents picked up of many yellow lines. I think that this is an exception to the rule, because we're dealing with the elderly, we're dealing with the community getting in and out. So for this reason, I want to support the amendment of Mark's.
Thanks, Debbie. Tyler, debate now.
Thank you, Helen. And I asked Andre actually about what the community board's all about when I first started being elected, and he said everything's about yellow lines. And he was not wrong at all, and that's why I'm probably laughing on the side so much, because we're talking for an hour over yellow lines, which is really interesting for me, particularly going into things talking about citywide stuff. We're talking about yellow lines on the corner of Colt Place and Platinum Drive. When we're talking about these things, and as you guys are reminded for the third time now, I'm not acquainted with this area. And when it comes to things such as social safety and traffic safety, there are certain things which might not affect public safety, and whether it be traffic or social. But for me, I feel like safety over convenience, even if there is a 0.1% of potential of somebody getting hurt, of us not implementing yellow lines, particularly around number 38, which we have here, and the corners, which have a limited amount of potential detriment to safety implications in this situation. I'll be in support of the yellow line, and I'll probably continue to be in support of the yellow lines. But that actually highlights something else. It highlights that we're actually being reactive and not proactive when we're talking about these new subdivisions. When community boards have to continue to keep talking about yellow lines for the last 12 years. So for me, at a council level, this is a big eye opener for me. And it's not a waste of my time at all. It's actually a big eye opener for me to be able to learn from this. So it's actually bigger than just me supporting these yellow lines. It's actually me supporting proactiveness and reactiveness. And it's something that us as a community board might need to go to council to continue to try and look at how we can work with planners and traffic engineers a bit more.
Okay.
But that's where I'm at. Thank you very much.
So you're supporting the substantive motion rather than the amendment?
Correct.
Okay. So
with all due respect to my fellow councillors.
So anyone else want to comment? You can comment on the substantive motion too.
No, you're on. No,
Oh,
you
okay.
can comment on the.
You can say if you don't want to support the amendment, you can say why. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so this process has taken more than 3 years, so I'm not going to consider an option that may result in us having to come back here if cars are still parking on the corner down the track. We know what yellow lines will achieve. We can put the ticks in, cars may still end up parking on the corner, we're back to square one, and we find ourselves here in yet another 3 years, having to then put yellow lines in, so we may as well just do it once and do it right. From what I've heard is the reason one ticks the yellow lines is that we don't like yellow lines and sets precedent. I haven't really heard a reason why you wouldn't just do the yellow lines. So I'll be going for the yellow lines.
Okay, thank you, Andre. Okay, so anyone else wish to comment on the amendment? Okay, so Matthew, can you read out the amendment so that everyone's clear?
So the amendment is going to be something alike. So it will be 1A, won't change. So 1A says that along the southern side of Platinum Road, commencing at point 231 metres west of its intersection with Wigan Road, you're going to put yellow lines. 1B, C, D, and E will say, and I don't know what the exact words are, but they will say something like, so that you request that staff consider implementing parking ticks at the relevant distances. The reason that you're going to request that staff consider implementing it is because you don't have the delegation to put parking ticks in. So you're going to ask staff to go away and do it, and staff are in the room and have heard all of this. And that consider implementing is basically you saying put parking ticks in.
Okay, so everyone clear about the amendment? Right. This is our first major vote, isn't it? This turns. Right. All those in favour of the amendment say aye.
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 Against? No. Right. Show of hands, no.
I think it's lost. Yeah. It's lost.
Can we have a division, please, Helen?
Yeah, sure. I'll call a division. Basically, it's no, but I'll call a division.
Fail.
Mark?
Wait a sec. Wait for Faye to bring it up, and she'll call it out and enter it in as it comes up.
Yeah, it's DB Mark, yes, everyone else know. I don't know when
Yeah.
Okay. That's everybody happy with that?
Yep, that's fine.
We can go around the room.
Okay. Mark?
Yes.
Gamal?
No.
Henk? No. Tyler?
No.
No. Andre?
No. No.
I'm no. So that amendment was lost 7-2. So I now move the
You didn't take my vote,
standard
Helen.
motion.
You didn't take my vote, Helen.
7-2. Oh, sorry. Yes, your vote is yes. I made it 7-2. I've got that right. So So all those in favour of the,
Excuse me,
yeah, sorry,
can we get them put separately?
Yep.
So that we can record. who's-
Yep. We can do 1A, 1B, 1. Or do you want us to do 1A and then the rest of them? Perfect, we'll do that.
okay. All right, so what we'll do is we're moving 1A.
Yep.
All those in favour say aye.
All right.
Aye. Against, carried. That now we're moving B, C,
So does
D,
anybody vote against it that wants their vote recorded?
No, I'm voting this is students.
B, C, D, and E. So we're moving them as a block. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against,
No, Debbie, are you no as well?
Debbie?
No.
Are you no? Have we lost Debbie?
No, she's there.
She said
Debbie's,
no.
Debbie's a no.
No, okay. So that is,
Do you want your
Is-
vote recorded
Yes,
against?
Debbie and I want their votes recorded.
Do you
yes,
do this?
7-2.
Debbie, do you want your vote recorded against?
I've listened to everybody and I understand the reasonings, both sides. So I'd actually like to abstain.
Okay, cool.
So you're not a no, you're abstaining.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you,
Want that vote, that abstention?
do you want us to record the abstention?
Debbie?
Well, it's
Are
a
you
live
wanting-
recording, isn't it? So I may as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And
So
then you've got-
Mark's a definite no, Debbie abstention, everyone else in favour.
And then you got 2 and 3.
So, and I've got two to move, to revoke any previous resolutions.
We can
All,
move those together.
Yes.
all those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, carried. And
We'll do the
three,
same. Three is the same.
approve. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much, Robin, for your time, and
Tracy.
I think Tracy for your time.
Now we'll go back to 7.
Have you done 6?
Now, yes, I moved that earlier.
You did
very
6?
quickly, yes.
Good stuff.
So now I'm going to go through, for the audience here in the room, I'm going to go through a number of items very quickly. So item 7, which is the Owaka Road. Who
I
would
move that.
like to move that?
I
Mark
move that.
move.
Debbie,
Debbie.
Debbie move, Mark second. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Item 8, Halswell Quarry Garden. Those in, Marie moved, seconded Andre. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, carried. The Amy's Road bus stops will leave. Item 10, Wynard Place. Although, have I got a mover? Gamal, seconder. Andre. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, carried. The Recess Committee, item 12. Mover Marie, seconder Gamal. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Meeting schedule, item 13. Mark moved, Andre second. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. The discretionary response fund, I'll move that as a group.
Is that 16? Item 16.
Item 16. So those 3 funding approaches. Mark to move, seconded Gamal. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Wow, there we are. Thank you very much, board, for your promptness on that. Wow, we've dealt with Platinum Drive. Now we're moving to item 14 as the representation on outside organisations. I want to thank Marie for having done some work on this in sort of my absence. And I'll just try and find it. What page is it, Faye? Do you?
I'll bring it up, Helen.
Oh, here we are. Got it. Now, I just want anyone who feels we'll just go through this, and I've got names here. If you don't want to vote for that, or you want to be considered, please raise your hand. But the first recommendation, and I'll move that, we nominate a board member to be appointed to the Riccarton Bush Trust. I've got down that we approve Marie as the board member to the Riccarton Bush Trust. We have to have a board member rather than a councillor. So I'll move Marie be appointed. A seconder, Tyler. Thank you. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. No?
Are you doing these all separately? So are you putting them all separately?
Yes. Yes.
So if you read through what you've discussed,
Yes.
and then we can move them all in one go. Yeah.
All in one go. Okay. You sure?
Yeah.
That makes better. Okay. Now for Ruapuna, Mark was put forward, but in hindsight, I think Henk's also put his name, and Debbie. It's really important we have someone who hasn't got particularly strong views on Ruapuna. There's quite a division of views. So the recommendation is that Henk be that board member on Ruapuna. The third one, the Hornby Community Care Trust, is Sarah. Appoints one board member to each of the following organisations. Three. Appoints a board member to Te Potama Araha Rangitati Community Liaison Committee. We've got Sarah. Yep. Thank you. Keep Christchurch beautiful. We've got Debbie with an alternate being Sarah. District Neighbourhood Support, we have Gamal with Henk and Mark as alternates. And Judging the Gardens, we've got Debbie and possibly Henk. Were you keen on that, Henk? Or, yeah. Debbie and Henk. Right. So does anyone want to challenge any of that?
Move.
You'll move. Mark second. Okay, all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Great, thank you for that. Well done.
Who was the mover and second in the end?
Andre and Mark.
We just have a mover.
Wow, so we're on to item.
Sorry, just to clarify, you moved and seconded one, which was Marie, and that was Helen and Tyler. And then for 2, 3, 4A, 4B, and 5, it was Andre and Mark.
Great.
And 6.
And 6.
Yep.
Right. Now, governance arrangements. I just wanted to talk briefly with that. I'll actually move. Do I have a seconder? Mark? Or Gamal, if you Gamal, thank you. It talks about the chair having a casting vote. Now, I'm not in favour of that. I just thought I'd explain that. The reason I've always been against the mayor having a casting vote, and the mayor has never had a casting vote at council because the councillors don't want that person to have 2 votes. So I've always been in that group of councillors, so I personally don't think the chair should have a casting vote. If we're tied as a board, so it was 8 all, we had 8 here, then we just have to lie on the table and we go back and see if we can reach some sort of accommodation. So it would lie on the table, an item would lie on the table, we'd have discussions after the vote was taken and would see if we could come back with something that would get over the line in terms of 4 or 5 votes. So I'm quite comfortable not having a casting vote because I've never supported that in the past. So we've got a number of delegations here. I just want to give people the chance to ask any questions on that. I don't want to rush it with new board members here.
Do you want me to talk to it quickly?
Yes, if you do want to.
So Helen's covered the first recommendation and is recommending not to have a casting vote. Recommendation 2, 3, 4 and 5 are all around submissions. Traditionally, this board has had a submissions committee The submissions committee has been a kind of a formal committee that's been set up. The submission meetings that the submissions committee have been formal meetings, and we've had to advertise them and meet the standards of the GOIMA. We're suggesting this time round that we follow what other boards do and keep the submissions committee informal, which means that we don't need to meet all of the GOIMA standards quite regularly. The submissions committee that meets, or the submissions group that meets, agrees and discusses, but then the submission is polished up and finalised via email by the board. The finalised submission is always reported back publicly through the annual, through the area report at the end of every month. So that's the recommendation this time, that authority is delegated to the community board chairperson and the deputy chairperson in consultation with the board members to consider all of the submission opportunities that arise. So we'll send them out via email. Helen and Marie will then say, we'll canvass the people, and if we need to set up a submissions group, we will do so. If one person is particularly keen to lead that, they can do so. You could have a different person chairing various different meetings.
Okay, Mark, thank you.
Just a quick question about the GOIMA mention there. Then all the deliberations, email swaps, and those sorts of things still going to be discoverable by GOIMA? They're discoverable anyway. So all of that stuff is discoverable. The difference being, if you've got a formal meeting, you need to formally advertise it, and we will get a report out prior to that. But the challenge has been in the past, particularly in the past year, is that the submissions opportunities haven't come along with enough time to get, so it's delayed when you can have your submissions committee. I'm just worried about that. It's all discoverable. It'll be transparent. Yep.
So is there anyone in the table who's got a different view, who would like a formal submissions committee? Okay.
So right. If I talk to the next one, the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Youth Development Fund, the Ulster Ground Fund, the Swimming Accessibility and Activation Fund. So you've heard already some feedback from the Youth Development Fund earlier on tonight, the public forum. So the board established these three funds through the Strengthening Communities funding round. That was prior to this board's, the current membership of this board, but it was done this year. In 6 and in 7, you'll see the way that the board has traditionally made decisions based on those things. It details how you do it. It's via email. Basically, this recommendation is just to note that publicly. That's how you make decisions. That's what the board had previously decided, and to confirm that you guys are comfortable with adopting the process.
Status quo, right?
So, yeah, it remains status quo.
No.
Yeah, just for the benefit of new board members, that you may have picked it up already, but make sure we check our emails so that we actually can approve those as they come through, because they'll come through quite randomly. So just keep an eye on your emails so you can get your approval and non-approval through.
Quick question to you, Matt. Are they made urgent, those emails that are sent through?
Not normally.
Not normally. So
maybe? Because my inbox gets absolutely hammered.
Yep.
Yeah, be good to know.
Yeah, we'll put them through high priority. We can do that. Get some nods.
You'll always see in the subject line as well what it is, like that it is funding activation. If you see that, realistically, it needs to be replied to quickly, today, tomorrow.
I think the other thing which we'll investigate, and we'll probably have a workshop on in the run up to the next Strengthening Communities Fund, is what other delegations would work for that. So it could be that you delegate it to a group of people to do it. If we think legally that that's okay, and it follows the process, that we could do that. So there was a recommendation that came around to some community boards last year that it was delegated to the governance manager for anything under $500. For anything over $500, it was delegated to the board chair. So we can investigate some of that stuff. In the past, we've missed some opportunities because we haven't had responses, and that's not because people didn't want to respond. That's because people missed them, which meant that young people missed out. So,
okay. Any further queries on that? Okay. So I'll actually move the formal recommendations. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Who seconded it?
Thank you. The area report. I've got an addition there, but
apologies. Did your last, so is that recommendation for you to not have the casting vote in this paper? Right?
Yes, 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 absolutely. I can't have I can't be blocking the mayor. I would be asking for the same.
It would be.
Have you done item 9?
Yes. Oh no, Amy's
No.
Road bus stops. Thank you.
You want to do item
So
9
item
and then
9,
17?
thank you.
Yeah.
Now, so I'll struggle, Mark, if you want to speak to this, you have some thoughts about it not being passed quickly. So you
they've left.
Gone,
No, I think they thought it got caught up and yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm basically happy with what's being proposed there. The only question I had was whether we could extend the yellow lines further down the south side of Amy's Road to the Sign Derby Caterpillar entrance, simply to create more traffic lane space to stack vehicles going into the Shands Road intersection. But I would also be happy if we would, I guess, monitor the situation with the new no stopping line as proposed being installed. And if we find that there's still congestion problems at the Shands Road intersection, that we can quickly revisit with the traffic engineers and get the extra piece added.
So as a solution, can I suggest that
sure.
you move the officer recommendation and add so don't move the officer, move an amendment, which is basically the officer recommendation plus add a number 4, and the number 4 could be for, that you get a report back 6 months after, and the report back includes consideration of extending those lines to that place.
Yep, that would be good.
Yeah, does that work?
Yes, I think that works.
A report back, or we're just asking them to consider.
I think a report.
Ask them to monitor and consider.
Yeah, monitor and consider.
Are you meaning those yellow lines go further down the road?
Yes.
Around here?
Yes, on the south side where people are stacking into Shands Road intersection. So you can get 2 clear lanes all the way through. Okay. And simple reason for that is because vehicles are often stacked from that intersection all the way back past the Hope Church and Branston Street.
And
halfway down Amy's Road.
Are you asking for advice, or are you going to ask?
Well, ideally, I'd like to get them actually installed as this happens, but I suspect we're not going to have that opportunities.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Not saying there is already yellow lines, or I've trading this one.
Well, we around the bus stop. There is some already, and we're putting some new ones in.
Yeah.
But we haven't quite gone far enough. I would say.
But where it's at existing no stopping restrictions, if there's some in there that don't have them, because it's.
Are you going to get this one?
Yeah, I want to go back further down.
Okay, gotcha.
On the south.
And you wouldn't have to go as far as the Sign Derby entrance, because there is a bus stop mark there with no stopping on the side of it.
You'll need to give them some idea, Mark.
Yeah.
So
if we said to the Sign Derby Caterpillar entrance, that would give them all the information they need to.
Did you want it on both sides of the road, or just the south side?
Just the south side. And the reason for that is because that's the side that has the cash of people stacking into it. The other side, they're not stacking in near the third.
So you remember this for advice, staff advice to go further.
Yeah.
About passing the. Okay.
So it will be as is, and we'll add a number 4 that staff consider extending the no stopping yellow lines.
Investigate and provide.
Investigate, yes, and we'll do it and we can do that via a memo. And if it looks like that's something that we'd do, you'd get a further report at enough time.
And I tell you what, this time of year would be a good time to be monitoring it, because it's Christmas and everyone's on that road.
Anytime at 5 o'clock.
Okay, so what's the actual amendment?
So the amendment is, so the passing is, and the second part is requests that staff investigate and provide advice on possibility of adding additional yellow lines down to the
Sign Derby.
Sign Derby, yes, on the south side of the road.
That's fine. So who's moved that? Mark, speaking to Gamal. Sorry, so I'll move all those recommendations with an extra item, if it's fine. Yes. Yeah, okay, so all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Wow, now we're 5 minutes to go. We might, can I move that we have an extension of time of 10 minutes?
Oh, I've got an engagement at 7:15 at Wigram. And
Is that real?
that's real.
Helen, I'll
I've
need
got
to
a
stand
recovery.
back from one item, 3.2.3. I'll need to stand back from the table. So we might need to separate just that one out.
On which number do you?
See off the, for the
area
pop-up.
report, right, just one time.
We're only receiving.
Item 17.
Right.
I just sitting on there.
Okay, so would someone like to move that report?
Yep.
Mark, a seconder. Andre, I want to move, it's been agreed that in terms of Tokra Street, that we have after 9 months, we look as to whether the ticks are working or something stronger is needed. And that's not really clear. So after 9 months, staff provide a report on.
Hang on, so the staff recommendation has been moved and seconded.
Yes.
Are you moving amendment?
Yes.
We'll
Yes,
note.
I
I
think
think we
talk
can
it's a
note it,
note.
can't
It's a note.
we
Just a
can,
note, it's
yeah,
not
so we can do
really-
that. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
not
yeah.
that. We'll get it through.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Wow. Now we're on to elected members exchange. And I think I've had a call from someone in Hornby, and so has Sarah. But anyway, it's boy races issue. Yes. Okay.
I've got a 2 minute one too. Okay.
You're probably the same kid, right, Mark?
Well, I guess with regards to that boy races
Yes.
issue, thank you both for taking that issue on the resident. It's good. And it's timely that we've got the bylaw review coming up. So even for those that are watching online, if they can give any boy race location information for us as a board, we can look at making a list of the areas we need to add to the bylaw as they review it. And I guess with regards to that one, I believe there's already a no access potential listed in the bylaw already for that. So we might be able to follow up with the police to have them or the policing over there. So there is some provision already for some of the locations that are around our areas. So we would pay for us to perhaps check those road names and that list.
And the other thing that when the resident phoned me, it's different. I've been involved in the Deans Avenue boy racing bylaw and been both involved when it was developed and monitoring it. But that's about cruising, where they cruise along and they go round and round and round. This seemed to be about burnouts. And I don't know if burnouts are in fact legal. So could we get
It's loss of traction.
So-
Sustained loss of traction.
Yeah.
So that's illegal.
Is it in the bylaw?
Yeah.
It is?
Oh, it's in
Okay.
the law.
Yeah. So
in
they're
the
not,
law.
yeah, you can't do that.
So what are we wanting to do with this? Are we wanting to ask the,
We need
do we
to,
want the police
I would
involved?
say get some advice from police on it.
Is this the Hornby one?
The Hornby
So,
one. I'm talking-
so we've raised it with staff. They've noted the location as a potential addition to the bylaw. It doesn't look as if there's anybody that would oppose that. They've reported it through to the police.
Yeah.
So the advice back from staff was, if people are raising these types of things, report to the police. If it's happening at the time, report it at the time. You can do that through 111 or 105. You can do it that way.
If there's intimidation happening, was what I saw in that report, then tell the police when you phone them, 111, there is intimidation.
They've said bypass traffic, go straight to 111.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So if it's there and then phone the police, and even if it's happened and you've got examples of it afterwards, let the police know.
Yeah.
So can we put something through to our senior traffic engineer?
We've done it.
Yeah.
It's been done.
It's been done.
Okay.
It's been actioned.
And when would they add it?
Well, adding it
if they want to.
So adding it to the bylaw takes time. So, but they've noted it as part of that bylaw review as a potential location. The thing that will have the immediate action is phoning up the police. So they've reported it to the police, and they've also reported it to the specific police team that deals with it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been actioned.
So I'll go back and inform those businesses
Yep.
to keep reporting it.
Yeah.
And do add when you phone the police, intimidation has taken place, because that tends to raise it in the police's importance, because it's potential.
And I've certainly found ringing 105 virtually impossible. So I think they need to ring 111.
It's happening.
Regardless of intimidation.
105 works really well. So
I've never found it work.
no, I had somebody doing burnouts around by us and driving around. I phoned up 105. They, I left a message. They did that. About 2 days later, the police got back to me. They'd gone off and they chatted to the drivers of the car with his father that was there. The young man no longer is allowed to drive the car.
Cool.
And the police came back and let me know what happened. So 105 works really well.
Good.
Have a go. But anyway,
Yeah.
so is that enough for Hornby Rex? We're doing enough there.
Yeah, I think that's all we can do. But well done on picking it up to two of you.
Yeah.
And that's going forward. Let's get the police involved and insist they get involved.
It was pretty rough. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And all the asphalt being ripped up.
Yeah.
It was like bags full of
You got 1 minute.
I'm under time now. We might bring it up after
Can I just speak
February,
to
but yes.
two events coming up this weekend in Hornby. Harold 1 to 6 tomorrow. Tomorrow from 5:30.
Yep.
Have them starting at 6:30, is it?
Yes.
It's like 5:30 start.
Yeah.
And then there's the Greater Hornby Association Fun Day from 11 to 2 on Saturday. So you're all welcome. Feel free to pop out to Hornby and enjoy some experience.
Free face painting tomorrow, anyway.
I'm there.
Ink's not painted.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything from council we ought to know? Andre, Kyla, and
Very
yeah.
much so. There's just two images to go with mine today, but I'll start with.
And Mark.
Oh, perfect. Look at that. So this is so in Sparks Road. So we won't have a footpath down there for another year or two. But in the meantime, this is the access way for people in Halswell Downs to get to the nearby shops and so on. Now I sent through a service request on this one 2.5 months ago at the start of October. This was the photo from the start of October. It's gotten a lot worse since. Unfortunately, it hasn't been attended to as of yet. I've been to it myself, and it is going to be a massive job.
So we'll follow that through.
Yeah, could be followed up. I have been told it will be done, but I've been told a number of times, and it's just something I need to be mindful of both this summer and possibly the next summer. Hopefully not. Next photo should be Sullivan's Road.
Sorry.
In the meantime, I'll talk about the stack of paper that I've got. So this is all from the residents at Lady Wigram Retirement Village, and they have had their say on the safe speed neighbourhoods. So they would like 30 k's around Lady Wigram. The current proposed zone is around Wigram Primary. It just finishes before Lady Wigram Retirement Village. Ultimately, I'd like it to be extended a few hundred metres down the road. Makes sense to me if that's what they want. So I've got a big stack here of 40 submissions to lodge with staff. Out of the 40, there's only one who thinks that would be a waste of time. The rest think it would be a great idea. Sutherland's Road. So there's one photo there. If we could go to the next one. So it's just, obviously it's going to be a huge amount of truck movement along here over the next couple of years, and there has been. I don't believe it would be the responsibility of developers, because this is where they'll be driving between developments. So I'm encouraging residents to continue to snap and solve. I certainly have on this case, but it's an area that staff are going to need to continue to monitor, because the roads here are getting very, very bad around Sutherland. So, and actually really dangerous. The potholes that only they jump out at you, they're not instantly visible. So you will often accidentally drive through them, and they are pretty darn dangerous. Te Kuru, I have been to Te Kuru. There is no signage around dogs. And it is not an appropriate place for people to have your dog off a leash. It is there's native wildlife. This is going to be an ongoing issue, but there's no but there's no signage. So when you go in there, there's no signage. That needs to be there really, really soon, because when people go somewhere for the first time, they might notice signage. Once they've taken their dog and been off the leash 100 times, by the time you put signs up, they probably won't see them. So it's something
that was raised when it was open.
Yes.
And we were told then that it was going to be done. It was in the I guess it's a pretty long fight.
It was going to come up.
Yeah, I'm just mindful that the longer it's left, the more it's become an issue. And it's also a effective control area as opposed to a leash area, which I believe is another issue.
Now, have you put that through to Faye and Matt?
Yep.
Yes, they've got it, right?
That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to have to conclude the meeting unless anyone's got anything further.
Lucky for you.
It's 7:05. 7:05.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So
Thank you,
it's-
Helen.
No time
It-
to
it-
escape.
Now, a sort of karakia.
Yeah, complete, yeah.
Unigia ki te uretaki nui, kia wātia kia māma te ngākau, te tinana te wairua i te ara takata, koia e rongo, aka iria ake ki runga, uturu pakamawa kia tina, haumia, huie.
Right.
Ora.
Kia ora.